morning. I swear a lot.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Library of Ruina book club. This should be the finale. This should be the end, theoretically. Depends how long the art book is, really. But today, both alternative endings that I didn't see, obviously, because I went for the true ending when I played the game, and then afterwards, we'll be checking out the art book. So, I'm excited to see. I mean, I'm kind of dreading these, actually, because I bet they're very upsetting, but I'm excited to see the art book. So, there's that. Let's have a look.
밖에 못 보는 아둔한 이기주의. 지금의 결과에만 만족하는 멍청한 사람.
Yeah, this was quite a fight, I remember.
그게 너야. 그리고 나지.
You're both idiots. You're made to be friends.
언젠가 같은 논리로 무너질 수밖에 없을 테니. 정말 자신을 위한다면 말이야. 서로 이런 선택을 하면 안 되는 거야.
Roland, if you really cared for yourself, you would have abandoned this a while ago, but we've been over this.
오래 못 가거든. 이기적이기 위해선 자신만 바라보면 안 돼. 주변의 것도 착실히 눈에 새겨야 했던 거야. 모든 건 이어져 있으니까. 바로 죽이긴 해. 마지막이 와서 망설이다가는 나가서도 오래 못 살아.
God, I mean, like, obviously this is spoilers for the end of the game. Obviously, it goes without saying. Imagine if, canonically, Angela had actually killed Roland. Everyone would have been fucking devastated. I would have been fucking devastated. Sorry, Roland, you're hard cringe. This may affect future progress, well, yeah.
여기가 끝이야, 롤랑. 이것도 내가 이겨내야 할 아픔이겠지.
Suppose it is. What's one more after a million and the ones you've inflicted on everyone else? I'm sure it's fine. Okay, Roland won't say his line. Yup, we all just have to look at our own agonies and nothing else.
축하해, 엔젤라.
Good job. This will be rough.
고마워. 나는 다음으로 나아갈게.
네가 우는 모습도 낯선데.
Huh. She just clicked him out of existence?
나는 모든 고통을 머금고 이곳까지 왔다. 눈물을 흘릴 수 있는 몸으로 도시의 울음에 함께 웃어주겠다.
Oh yeah, you're gonna become evil. Oh, obvious. Well, I mean, yeah, her goals for the city were already not great.
책은 나에게 많은 방법을 알려줬다. 환상체를 실체화해 도서관에서 해방하는 방법.
Just can't fathom the fucking thought process that led her to believe this was a good idea. Or even the right idea, or even in any way related to her own misery.
세피라의 몸을 완전히 인간으로 만들어 자유롭게 하는 법.
Though I guess for her it's not enough to just, you know, kind of ruin the plan that A had, but also had to completely ruin everything he was doing in every way, shape and form. But it's just so much collateral damage.
로보토미 직원들의 의식과 몸을 복구하는 방법. 도시에서 살아갈 힘을 얻는 방법. 너희도 이제 책으로 돌아가면 되는 거야.
Oh. Oh. So she straight up betrays them? Oh. Oh no.
도서관 안에서 나에게 맞서는 짓이 의미 없다는 걸 누구보다 너희가 잘 알잖아?
On this path, she never intended to keep to her promise.
말쿠트, 내자, 예사들 모두 죽었어.
Wait, why are they all dead? Why?
역시 엔젤라, 네 마지막 선택은 이거군.
And why wouldn't you kill Gebra? She's literally the ones who opposed the original plan, right? But what about Hockmer as well? Didn't Hod oppose? I guess Hod's considered feeble enough to not really oppose it, but
참으로 뻔뻔해, 엔젤라.
Well, yeah.
진작에 이래야 했던 걸지도 몰라.
Rough.
괜히 너희와 거리를 했어.
But I don't understand why you don't just give them their freedom anyway. What's the point in not doing it? You may as well. It would help your conscience.
그날 제한 따위 없이 홀로 살았다면 이런 아픔을 겪지 않을 수 있었는데.
You wouldn't have to feel this high if you had just give. You could easily. But why? How in becoming human have you become less human?
제멋대로 되살리고 다시 죽음을 부여하다니 참으로 어리석군.
Yeah, no kidding.
더불어 그 일에 대해 후회까지 하고.
Evidently, but she's regretting decisions that she could very easily not make. Even ignoring the fact that, you know, in this reality, as it were, we just killed Roland. She just chose to kill Roland instead of forgiving him. But I guess this is running off of the assumption that she hasn't gone through the realizations. In fact, I assume this ending is assuming she hasn't gone through any realizations, kind of. Even though you could do, like, all but one and still get this ending. It's kind of assuming Angela as a person has not had those experiences. I guess that does make sense.
내 일을 막으려 했으니 당연한 거야.
Did they? Oh, I guess they did.
너희가 얻은 몸과 자유로 직접 선택한 결과니까.
I assume something similar happens to last time and we just kind of skip that because Angela is way more powerful than them.
내가 너희를 죽이기 전에 두 발로 걸어나가 어디론가 사라졌다면 됐을 텐데.
Right, okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Alright, so she did give them the option and they were like, nah, and then she was like, alright, fucking fine then.
너도 마찬가지 아니겠니? 그토록 원한 인간의 몸과 자유를 얻었음에도 도서관에서 한 발자국 나가려 하지 않다니.
Huh.
사람의 마음이란 그런 게 아니겠어?
So she gets everything she wants and then is like, nah.
네 말이 맞단다.
Venus like, yep, that sure is dumb.
함께 마지막 춤을 추도록 하자꾸나.
이번에야말로 영원히 잠들어줘. 아인, 당신의 꿈은 맹렬히 땅으로 곤두박질 칠 거야. 내 모든 걸 걸었으니까.
I see.
모든 걸 건다는 건 곧 모든 걸 바쳐야 한다는 것. 왜 그토록 인간의 몸을 원했을까?
Now that you have it, you don't seem to care.
복수에 있어 오히려 짐일 뿐인데.
How? But, Okay, yeah, I keep needing to remind myself that this is assuming she hasn't gone through the realizations. So she still holds, like I said, this ending kind of assumes you haven't done any of them, even though you would get it if you had only missed one. So she hasn't come to any of the realizations, she hasn't vented any of her frustrations, she is still very much carrying all of it. But it's still weird to be like, ah yes, now she's fully become human and she has zero human emotions.
난 둥지를 틀어 도시의 몰락을 바라볼 뿐인 사서.
Of course that's supposed to be the irony, isn't it?
도시의 모든 지식과 생명을 집어삼키는 도서관이 되어라. 도서관은 도시 남부 지역을 침식했다. 도서관의 범람은 누구도 감히 막을 수 없었다. 끊임없이 사람들을 죽이며 쉴 새 없이 지식의 살을 찌웠다.
I see.
그 어느 별보다 도시를 밝게 비춘다. 13년간 도서관은 도시를 감쌌다.
13 years.
이런 위험한 괴물을 모아두고 크게 한 건 해주셨네요, 사서님.
Well, this is quite an image. Who the fuck are you? Miss Librarian of Death. Yeah, I suppose so. And the color scheme's very different now.
수고했어.
Oh, do you work for Angela?
괴물은 괴물답게.
A monster should behave as one, huh?
저는 아무것도 모르고 당신을 믿고 따랐는데 말이에요.
네 동료는 책 사냥꾼들은 얼마나 죽었니?
Book hunters.
셀 수 없이요.
앞으로도 셀 수 없는 많은 사람이 죽을 거란다. 난 사람을 알아. 도시가 감춘 사람의 진실을 알아버렸거든.
그렇겠죠. 그리고 전 당신을 알아요. 수고하셨어요. 부디 영원히 죽어주세요.
잠들게 해줘서 고맙구나. 이름 없던 아이야. 아무리 밝게 빛나는 별이라 해도 사그라든다.
Okay.
다른 별과 같이 언젠가 사람에 의해 질 뿐이다. 오늘 밤에도 별이 바람에 스치듯이.
Interesting. So, like, I was kind of expecting something along the lines of Lobotomy Corporation's alternate endings, where it basically goes, "There's a fail state, try again." And I'm sure in gameplay, like, it would just take you back to before the Black Silence fight, and you'd have to do it again. But the ending here definitely feels more complete. Like, we're talking we went 13 years into the future. We addressed the fates of all the Sephira. Like, it was a complete ending. That is an ending to the video game, as it were, which is interesting. I wonder if we'll ever see that character in anything following up from this, like, because they clearly exist, they just wouldn't be the same kind of person, I suppose, as they would be in this ending, but that's quite an elaborate design with the sword and all that, to just have them be a throwaway character. Interesting. I'm really interested to see Rollins now, and I bet I'm going to be disappointed, but I'm really curious to see what he does if he takes down Angela. God damn, that was really cool. That was a lot more than I was expecting. But yeah, that's what I need to remind myself of course, is that I need to remember that these endings kind of canonically assume you didn't do any realizations rather than just missing one or two. Even though for most people it would probably be missing one or two. I can't imagine a person who would play this game to completion without doing the realizations anyway, but if someone did without doing all of them, they wouldn't have skipped all of the realizations, but for the sake of not creating like narrative dissonance and stuff, we have to assume that someone getting to these stages did not do any. And therefore, Roland and Angela don't have the knowledge and the emotional growth that they gained from said realizations. But the game is very much built around you doing the fucking realizations because they're really important, not only for character development but also for gameplay progress. Interesting. I'll stop delaying, let's see what Roland has to say for himself. Forgive Roland. Yeah, it'll affect future progress. The hand has been extended.
그래. 그냥 그렇게 조금만 더 망설여. 내가 바로 모가지를 따줄 테니.
I mean, I kind of assume in this circumstance that Roland will kill her and die of his wounds, because the library won't be helping, won't be reviving him, as it were. And again, he goes from this to literally fighting Distorted Argalia one-on-one, so, I don't know what happens to the light once Angela dies.
롤랑, 난 놓을 거야. 누군가는 끊어야만 하니까.
Someone has to break this cycle, but it takes two.
결국 나조차 도시에서 굴러가는 수레바퀴를 벗어날 수 없었네. 그리고 이런 굴레를 늘 반복해야 한다면 난 더는 살아갈 자신이 없어. 정도의 차이만 있을 뿐 다시 수레바퀴 아래 짓눌린 채 영원히 돌아갈 테니.
I mean, you seemed pretty fine with it in the other ending, to be honest. But of course, this is you having done the realizations. So it is different.
이런 세상에서 자유를 얻어도 의미 없는 거였어.
뭐? 이렇게 난장판을 버려놓고 지금 와서 놓겠다고?
You're just gonna say, nah, bruh, it's fine?
무언가 깨닫기라도 한 거야?
Some kind of huge revelation that Roland was not struck by?
그렇다면 이 망할 도서관에서 할 일 없이 죽은 놈들은, 내 손으로 죽인 자들은 대체 뭐가 되는데?
Roland, you didn't kill that many people, because I didn't use General Works very much because it wasn't very good until post-game.
지금까지의 내 각오와 절망, 희생은 대체... 넌 반드시 무언가를 원해야만 한다고!
Yeah, I want to see the other ending.
이렇게 쉽게 끊어내면 안 되는 거야. 그러기엔 너무 멀리 왔다고. 제대로 된 욕망조차 없는 놈이 그렇게 많은 피와 힘을 머금으면 안 되는 거야.
Uh-huh.
그 모든 게 이제는 너무 무거워. 난 이번이 마지막일 줄 알았어. 정말 마지막으로 한 번만 더 눈을 감고 피를 본다면 내가 원하는 대로 살 수 있을 줄 알았어. 하지만 도시라는 굴레에 있는 한 자유로울 수 없는 거였네. 나와 너, 그리고 이 도서관은 수많은 자의 피를 머금었지. 자유로 가고자 한 내 모든 행동은 수레바퀴를 가속했을 뿐.
It's really, I think it feels even worse, right, to have gotten to this point and had Angela be like, yeah, I forgive you, Roland, knowing I'm now gonna have to tell Roland not to forgive her.
내가 지금껏 받은 고통과 자유를 위해서라면 어쩔 수 없다고 생각했어. 그리고 모든 게 끝나면 더는 내 손으로 누군가의 소중한 걸 앗아가고 싶지 않았어.
Only Roland felt the same way.
상실과 고통이라는 게 무엇인지 아니까. 하지만 도시라는 수레바퀴는 누군가의 상실과 고통을 원동력으로 모든 걸 짓밟으면서 굴러가지. 결국 마지막에 내 것을 자신의 손으로 앗아가야 한다면, 그리고 그 후에도 누군가의 피를 마시거나 그로 인해 반드시 피를 흘리며 살 수밖에 없다면 이제 내려놓을 거야. 적어도 수레바퀴에 짓눌려 죽지는 않겠어.
I mean, she still technically has a good ending here because she doesn't die under the wheel.
돌릴 수 없어.
The thing is, she can actually, if you let her.
빼앗은 자는 늘 빼앗으며 살아야 하는 거야. 그런 각오조차 없었다니.
So it still makes me wonder, what is even the library's purpose now that it's in the outskirts? Not now here, but now post-game. Like, what does it even do? Because the post-Ruina events would dictate that neither Roland nor Angela nor any of the Sephra would be particularly keen on inviting people to the library and killing them for books. All of the books that the library hoarded are gone. That doesn't mean there's no books in the library, but all the ones gotten in the course of the game are now gone. So what does the library do, per se? I can't think of anything.
책과 사서, 그리고 도서관. 마지막으로 내 자유.
I can tell you what they do. They all sit around and watch me read books. That's literally all the library does now. We're just a book club.
이 모든 걸 내가 먼저 내려놓을게. 더는 움켜쥐고만 있지 않을 거야. 움켜쥐려 하지 않을 거야. 이 모든 걸 놓는다면 돌려낼 수 있어.
Right, so Roland goes to make this decision knowing that she can in fact fix everything she's done, except for the one most important to him, of course.
적어도 도서관에서 죽은 자들만큼은.
그게 네가 선택한 답이야? 넌 이제 이 도서관 밖으로 그냥 걸어 나갈 수 있는데, 감옥의 문이 열렸는데 100만 년간의 고통을 되갚을 수 있는 바로 그날인데, 그런 선택을 할 수 있다고? 네가 간절히 바라는 게 코앞에 있는데?
그래. 오롯이 나만의 바람으로 정한 거야. 처음으로 모든 것에서부터 자유로워진 내가 선택한 첫 바람이자 마지막 선택이야.
그렇다 해도 난 널 용서할 수 없어. 용서하면 안 되는 거야.
His reasoning gets weaker and weaker.
도시에선 그렇게 제멋대로 먼저 끊어낼 수 없다고.
She didn't let go of it on her own, but of course in this instance Roland hasn't had the Sephra to help him through his issues, so he probably wouldn't understand that.
이기적이잖아.
마지막으로 부탁 하나만 할게.
Ah, this is gonna be rough.
난 잠깐 무방비 상태가 될 거야. 여태 머금은 것을 토하는 게 간단하지만은 않거든. 그동안은 날 내버려 둘 수 있겠어?
Oh no.
친구로서의 부탁이야. 우리가 아직 친구라면.
He does not.
그 사이에 내가 널 죽일 수 있을 텐데.
물론 그래도 되지만 걱정하지 마. 모든 건 되돌려지고 난 한없이 사라질 테니. 시간 없으니 바로 시작할게.
So as far as he knows in this moment, she'll die anyway, so the idea that he feels the need to land the killing blow, I get it, personal satisfaction, revenge for his wife and all that, but still, needlessly petty.
어떻게 먼저 내려놓을 수 있어? 어떻게 먼저 끊어낼 수 있는 거야?
Also, I can understand him not wanting the situation to be taken out of his control. Oh, God. Don't want to, but hey, I want to see what happens. This will affect future progress.
끊을 수 없는 거야, 엔젤라.
We have to be miserable.
혼자 멋대로 끊을 수 없는 거라고!
Damn.
엔젤라, 내 계획과 다르게 고통 없이 목숨을 거둔 건
Oh yeah, he was gonna torture her for like God knows how long initially, wasn't he? Forgot about that.
친구로서 마지막 배려야.
Fair.
모두 끝났어, 안젤리카.
I wonder if he distorts as a result of this.
엔젤라의 목이 바닥에 떨어짐과 동시에
Oh wow.
도서관도 무너졌다.
Oh wow, you straight up took her head off. God damn. Where the fuck did it go? Wow, you really home runned that motherfucker. Jeez. Wow.
도시의 한가운데 한 사람이 있다. 그리고 그 앞에는 붉게 물든 기계만 있을 뿐이다.
Wasn't a machine anymore.
도서관은 그렇게 신기루와 같이 사라졌다. 그 사람도 다시 도시 속으로 자취를 감췄다.
그 소식 들었어? 대장이 다시 복귀한다고.
Our big man's returned, eh?
롤랑. 그렇게 개판을 치다가 인제 와서 말이지.
Ah,
난 당연히 소리 소문 없이 어디 묻힌 줄 알았어.
that'd be too easy. Some pub, yeah, sure.
곧 태질 거다. 버린 짓이 너무 많아.
So are these members of Charles' office, the 12 fixers? Because I remember Renaud. That's familiar.
그래서 어떻게 지내고 있대? 예전 일도 있으니 얼굴이라도 비춰볼까?
That seems a debatable decision. I'm pretty sure he's pretty far off the deep end by this point.
매일 술과에게 쩔어 산다더군. 뭐에 홀린 양 더러운 일만 도맡았어 말이야.
Sounds about right, yeah. A bit cliche, but sure.
그 얼간이 너무 변했어. 얼굴 비칠 필요도 없네. 조만간 또다시 사라지겠지.
바뀌지 않는 사람은 드물잖아. 우리는 말할 것도 없고.
한 사람이 하수구 아래 물 위로 떠밀려온다.
Oh wow, he fucking dead.
그 남자의 등에는 무수한 무기가 박혀있다. 얼굴 모르는 자의 몽둥이, 원수였던 자의 말도, 동료였던 자의 단검, 친구였던 자의 창. 등에 꽂힌 수많은 무기는 그 사람이 짊어져온 업이다. 나는 알고 있나니 내가 죽음의 자리에 드는 날에도 넌 내 마음속으로 깊이 들어와 나와 함께 가지런히 누우리라.
말했잖아 롤랑. 너무 많이 죽였어.
Yes, I think he did.
이 정도로 죽여버리면 뭐가 뭔지 알 수 없게 된다고.
그 사람은 그렇게 조용히 잊혔다.
In black silence. Very good. Well, I sure am glad that's not canon. I'm sure glad neither of those endings are canon. I like the canon ending we got. I think it's a lot better. Well, let's be fair. I like the canon ending because I do enjoy me some happier endings, especially with characters I really like. But those two endings were very good, actually. They're very suitable, very applicable. I guess it's a bit Although I'll acknowledge that this is probably intentional, but it is a bit of a letdown that Roland's end was so mundane, but that's kind of the point. He did what he came here to do and then literally just faded back into obscurity. Back into being basically a piece of shit. Those are some good endings. Those are some very good endings, but yeah, I still prefer the one we got. And it's funny to note that when Angela becomes like unbelievably powerful and kills everyone and the library just fucks up the city for 13 years, the head does not get involved because it's like, well, she's human, it's fine. She's human now, she can do what she wants. And it's like, oh, but when she's a robot and is going to keep to herself, suddenly you have to intervene. That's when you've got to get involved and send everything you got. But when she's a human with power basically unrivaled and is ruining the city, nah, just let her do it. It suits us. Fucking hell. But yeah, those are the endings. Let's check out the art book. Hey, the Book of Library of Ruina, Book, Librarian, Star, and City. I've heard people talk about this thing constantly throughout the series and have never gotten to look at it myself because, you know, spoilers. And now I'm finally here. Now I finally get to take a look. Interested to see what it's got. 227 pages, fuck me. Alright, this might not be done in one video, because this is volume 1 and there's a volume 2. Book contents: the library will endure, illuminated, solitary, infinite, perfectly emotionless, equipped with precious volumes, useless, incorruptible, and secret. History, tech sciences, literature, art, nat sciences, languages, flora, social, yep, the floors, and then all of the guests. Oh, there are like 438 pages. Oh god. Foreword to the patron librarians. These are the patron librarians, tasked with greeting guests invited to the library and categorizing its books. They're our longtime co-workers who have been with us since Lobotomy Corporation. The patron librarians take charge of the floors, each dedicated to a specific subject. The atmosphere of a floor greatly depends greatly on the genre and the patron librarian. Oh, and we can't forget about the assistant librarians aiding them, of course. It seems the librarians are maintaining good relationships with each other. Even though the patron librarians don't display an entirely favorable attitude, they have their own reasons to lend a hand. And here's Malkuth. Patron librarian Malkuth, VA Liarium. Unknown age, female. Height 5'4", birthday March 24th. That's pretty close to my birthday, actually. Guileless, passionate, impatient, always trying different things, specializes in spatial awareness, likes potatoes and novelty candles, and dislikes giving up. Girl after my own heart. I'm the first to check out this book. Neat, it's nice and clean, I'll take a peek then. I made some notes here and there, don't mind them when you read. I will read them. And you get all of their individual stances as well. When I worked on the floor realization, it was nice to be able to depart from characters set in the near future city and design things more grounded within fantasy aesthetics similar to what we had in LC. I could also gain a deeper understanding of Angela's thoughts and sentiments through that process. The background track that begins with a tone of sadness and explodes into anger is another highlight of Angela's realizations. Yeah, I got that impression. Oh, turns out it's even more. Why was it showing me less then? Whatever. There's her facial expressions. Very stable. I personally like Malkuth with shorter hair. You can see her real-life incarnation when you visit Ham Ham Pang Pang. She often dyes her hair to try and change her image. Malkuth working hard all the time is a pleasing sight. Go get him, Ham Ham Pang Pang. So did they base this character off of someone in real life? Since this was the first floor to have a realization, we had lots of contemplations and concerns, especially so since it was likely going to set a precedent for future realizations to follow. I think I also agonized over the presentation of the story. Seeing the reactions of the player made all the effort worth it, though. It's the ever-cheerful Malkuth. Pairing abnormalities with the theme of history was a tough task. It also took quite a bit of time to conceptualize the background design for the stage. I planned out the design with the idea that it stretches out from here to your Sod, Hod, and Netsex floors. I fondly remember the fans' positive reactions to our first realization update. I'm sure you do amidst the millions of negative responses you likely got for everything. I know the fucking fanbase. When we first did the voice acting, I remember directing Malkuth's lines in a way that clearly demonstrates her fluctuant and sometimes chilling personality. There was a more dramatic difference in her tone. Her voice would be brighter than ever when she's feeling happy, but it gets as low as it can be when her mood tanks. After some consideration, we decided to re-record the lines with less contrast. I kinda like that idea, though. She seems like someone who very much wears her emotions on her sleeve, and those emotions would sway dramatically. But I like Malkuth as they are. The assistant attire, the images. Yeah, I remember these. Oh, wow. Scorched Girl one, that was a very good introduction to the idea of... Well, not introduction, because I think we had Bloodbath first, but that was a memorable occasion. I flubbed that fight badly. Happy Teddy Bear. All right, wait, Happy... This book is wrong. This isn't Happy Teddy Bear at all. This is Happy Teddy Bear. So I need you to fall asleep. What's with those faces? It's the rest you all longed for. That was a cool scene. Fairy Festival 1 is interesting because that really looks like a Netzik arena. Obviously because of all the green. When it came to the realizations themselves, color schemes weren't quite so important. God, yeah, the Fairy Festival was fucked. Especially that thing. And how can we forget Queen Bee? Never forget Queen Bee. And now we have the art of Angela. Manifesting the abnormalities. And these are some cool designs. The fucking Scorched Girl one was great. That screams Bloodborne. There is a set, an armor set in Bloodborne that looks very similar to that. I believe it's even called the Scorched set or something. Fairy Festival looks really cool. Those arm blades are fantastic. Always loved Bee. The Bee one was fun. And oh yeah, Snow White's apple. What a fucking pain that abnormality is. I'd say it's between these two for coolest design on the floor of history. If this had a gun, this would be perfect. But I would say, like, if she had the blade in one hand and a gun in the other, but I would say this is probably the coolest one in my opinion. Hey, Sod. Patron librarian is Sod. VA, Leanne Sec... My pronunciations will be questionable. Age unknown, gender, male, height 5'7", so I'm taller than him as well. Birthday July 10th, personality traits, analytical, well-behaved, temperate, hobbies, yoga and stretching, that's strange. Specialties, reading comprehension, likes eggplants and hard candies, dislikes failing to meet deadlines, I do that all the time. There's our boy. I wasn't the only one who was uncomfortable with seeing the unorganized shelves in the background. I am filled with comfort now. The appearance of the patron librarians has changed from how they were in the previous installment as the Sephirot. Yesod's hairstyle was the greatest challenge of all. We feared that giving him too great a change would make him look like a different person, and Yesod wouldn't have liked it himself. I got to learn more about Yesod as I directed his BGM and the realization. We intentionally toned down the grandiosity of the BGM for the early floors, which was a shame because the tracks of the draft version were really appealing. I personally feel that level 1 BGM bears a strong resemblance to Yesod, so I listen to it often. I listen to Yesod's battle theme all the time. It's fucking sick. It's my favorite in the game. Though special mention to Gebra's for being amazing. I'm a fan of the gear-shaped lights in the background art for Yesod's floor. I only had a blurry idea of how I'd like the background to feel, but the art director grasped my thoughts well and reflected them in the art superbly, to which I responded, Eureka! It is a very cool floor, actually. Just the design here in gen was fucking superb. Looks so good. It's one of the most enjoyable floors to play on, not just because of the overwhelming power, but because of the sound and visuals. It's fucking amazing. Ah, Forsaken Murderer. I remember you. All-round helper, what a bastard. All Sephirot and personnel, please follow my lead. The control team will be in command now. It brings me joy to see you all act in such coordination. Now try and stop us till the end. Singing machine. Fucking singing machine. Bastard thing, funeral of the dead butterflies. Goddamn. Yeah, I remember... I don't know if this will actually be the case for all of them, but I remember being a little meh about Angela's designs for the floor of technological sciences. Not that there was anything wrong with the designs themselves in regards to her. I think they were perfect for what they needed to be. But they didn't strike me quite as hard, I think, as Histories did. But I can't remember what my reactions were to these at the time, because the realization of technological sciences was so fucking long ago. I don't remember how I felt, but looking at them now, they're a little less impressive. Though it must be said, that's fucking cool. That's fucking cool. Actually, I changed my mind. I based that entire thing I just said on this and forgot about these two. Singing Machine and Funeral of the Dead Butterflies are fucking incredible. This one's pretty cool, but it is very similar to Bloodbath. But I do appreciate the quad blades, very nice. But the guitar, the guns, like, that alone is incredible. Then yeah, these are very cool. I changed my mind entirely. This is dope as well, yeah. The short hair is an interesting choice. I'm not entirely a fan of it, but I think it very much suits this. Yeah, I don't know what I was talking about. These are fucking sick. And that arena was A+. Looks fucking incredible. Oh, so the idea is that this book was written after Ruina. That's nice. That's really nice. The floor of literature. Patron librarian Hod. Age unknown. Gender female. Height 5'5". Birthday September 10th. Personality traits: empathetic, amiable, and naive. Hobbies: spending time with the librarians. That's nice. Specialties: articulating her thoughts logically. Likes soft fabrics and cooked tomatoes. Dislikes the cold. We're very similar. Dope. When I first heard that Hod would be managing literature articles, I thought there could be something that suited her better. Of course, now I believe that literature matches Hod well. I'm iffy about it. I think some of these applications of like floor genres to specific librarians was very much a case of like, I get the feeling it was a struggle, right? Where they were like, I'm not really sure what we can do that would make sense for a library and would also make sense for this character, but I think they did a good enough job. I don't think they did a bad job. Starting with the floor of literature, the director asked that the designs for Angela's forms look more like a distortion. I grappled with the design concepts quite a bit. There was a lot of trial and error creating the visuals for Spider-Bud's ego, which was our first attempt at such effects. Back when I was playing Lore for the first time, after joining the team, I was fighting today's shy look with everyone watching and was beyond terrible at getting the timing right. Yeah, I know how it feels. When I succeeded after about 10 tries, the whole team congratulated me like it meant the world to them. When they adjusted the difficulty later, they asked me to test it out. I'm fond of the warm atmosphere on the floor of literature. How nice would it be to read a book in such a place nursing a cup of tea? It led me to believe that some would prefer the floor of literature as the prime get-together and reading spot. As seen in an illustration where the patron librarians are together, the assistant librarians join in sometimes too. It's where we're holding the book club right now. We're doing it right now. Her antenna is pointing the direction opposite of her hair in LC. It looks like the fanbase is evenly split on whether they prefer Malkuth or Hod. Our team is evenly split on the matter as well, actually. I mean, it's a tough one. It is a tough one. It is a warm place. Today's shy look. What a bastard. The red shoes. You'll never get to spread the light for those 7 days you all planned. It would last, perhaps 4 days at most, and I'd be left with only 2 or 3 days worth of light for myself. In any case, none of us will have won this battle. I'd like to make a proposal. I want to live, you see. Ah, there's Spider-Bud, creepy bastard. That's a really good arena, though. That's a really good arena. Letitia, everyone's favorite wee witch. Also a very good arena. Floor of Literature's final episode. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about Black Swan. Yeah, that is this floor, isn't it? Yeah, definitely more of a distortion kind of look with the bird feet, for sure. There's a Letitia one. That Spider-Bud one is very cool. Red Shoes is a fucking banger. That is an absolute home run of a design. That looks so cool. Fucking sick. This one's effective. It's good. It's just not to my personal taste. But it's definitely good. Oh, it occurred to me, I was going to pick a favorite out of each of them. I started that with Malkuth and then forgot about it. So, sorry, let me just go back real quick. For this floor, definitely Funeral of Dead Butterflies. That is such a cool look. I mean, I feel like that was fairly obvious, but it was between these two and Funeral of Dead Butterflies all day. That is so cool. That is what everyone imagined their LobCorp Nugget looked like, even though they didn't. But that's what they imagined, because god damn it, that's cool. Yeah, and then on this one, I mean, I feel like it's kind of obvious from my reaction, but, red shoes, fucking red shoes, that is so good. That axe is incredible. I wish that was, the weapon that they had in LobCorp. They did get an axe, but it wasn't like that. It was nowhere near like that. And that would have been awesome. It's our boy, Netzi. Floor of Art, patron librarian Netzik. Age unknown, gender male, height 5'9". He's the closest one to me so far. Birthday, August 27th. Personality traits, easygoing, curious, stolid. I don't know what stolid means. I'm gonna fucking Google that real quick. What does stolid mean? calm, dependable, and showing little emotion or animation. Yeah, that's about right. Hobbies, piecing together blank jigsaw puzzles and then painting on them. That's a really cool idea, actually. Oh, sorry, VA Li Shangmin. We should give people the credit they deserve. Specialties, concentration, interesting. Likes, a blank canvas and booze. Dislikes, irksome work. I can relate. Good old Netzy. The programmer went the extra mile, faithfully recreating the presentation for the silent orchestra, and it was great to be able to implement an effect from the legacy versions of LC that was lost during the system overhaul. Fuck the orchestra. Got nothing much to say. Is it mandatory to write something? Seems to me like you did your damnedest. It's not like I like alcohol, but looking at you keeps reminding me of it. The Sephora symbols actually could have been made during the development of LC, but didn't come to fruition since there wasn't much need for such symbols at the time. So when the time had come to create symbols for the first 4, we made whatever we got an idea for first. My personal favorites are Gebra's and Kater's. I'm personally a big fan of the presentation for the realization of the floor of art. I remember being fascinated by how well it fit the silent orchestra into Capo. I also liked the design for Angela's transformation, which was as pale as a plaster cast. The floor of art was the first to have its background images for dialogue scenes in the battle stage drawn. Next, it had a clear image and characteristics which made it convenient to work on him. Choosing abnormalities was also simple, as there were many abnormalities related to music. That's like the best image in the game. Love that one. I didn't really like the track for the floor of art, I have to say, but that's definitely a personal taste thing, not a critical thing. It definitely served its purpose, it just wasn't to my taste. Fragment of the universe, child of the galaxy. So I'd like to live more. I don't care if you want to die or not, I want to live my own life, and I'd like to learn more about the city, about this world I live in. Once we've reclaimed all the lights, you are free to lay judgment upon me. When that time comes, though, I won't sit back, of course. That is all I have to offer. If no one else objects, I'll proceed with it right away. Life will call out to you once again, so take a nap until then. Porcubus! Everyone's favorite drug creature. I was just checking to make sure I didn't miss any scribbles, because I'm sure I have. I guess Porcubus is blowing up people's heads because the ecstasy it gives is too much for our brain to handle, though I didn't find it all that pleasant. No, I can't imagine. It's very good arena. Auriune, why is Walter here? This is just an example image. It's interesting. God, I hated Auriune so much. Floor of Art's final episode. There's some cool designs here. They were alright, they were interesting. Auriune's is pretty fucking cool, it must be said. Porcubus is fun. Why does the Spy Association getting bodied by this? It's so unfair. And then, of course, there's DiCapo. My favorite here, I have to say, is Child of the Galaxy. That looks fantastic. That is a brilliant design. Not that anyone will care about this comparison, but she looks like she could be a legendary lord for Total Warhammer 3. I could see it. Or she looks like she could be either a modded character or a boss fight in Darkest Dungeon. That is a fantastic design. Love it. And the attacks are amazing as well. Big ups on that. The Floor of Natural Sciences. Patron Librarian Tifereth. VA Sun Young. Age, unknown. Gender, female. Height, 159 centimeters, 5'3". You guys sure wrote a ton. Is this why it took so long for me to get my hands on it? Birthday, July 8th. Personality traits, diligent, personal, a bit prideful, you don't say. Hobbies, labeling books and categorizing them. Specialties, analytical skills. Likes getting lost in thought while gazing at the gem in the window. Yeah, I wonder why. Dislikes, asking people for help. Good old Tiff. I like Tiff in this game a lot. She's a lot cooler than she was in LobCorp. It's almost as if you take your child character and make them not a child anymore, they become cooler. Who'da thunk it? The gem in the window seen in the background after Tifereth's floor is colored after Enoch's eyes, of course, as I was told. Tifereth sometimes sits in a chair and stares at the gem in thoughtful silence. I wanted the stage background to give the feeling that it's interconnected with the other floors, similar to Malkuth's. I felt that Roland's lines and his gesture of nihil form are closest to the emotions he had in the past. He goes from hatred to despair to greed to wrath, and then finally, that sense of futility, like the jester taking a step forward in the Major Arcana card. Will there be a cliff awaiting Roland underfoot? Or perhaps it's only a shallow ditch? I got an impression that the way the fool goes forward without knowing what's lying ahead resembles Roland. He is very much like that, I'd say. That's a very accurate description. The fifth phase of the realization battle has the magical girls bring Roland back to his senses so he doesn't meet the same fate that they did. It's funny to read this and see how many people went into the comments of, and like these are exactly the same words as people in the comments of those videos, but they didn't mention that they got it from the art book. So it's very interesting to see how many people just went there and acted like they had like this proper philosophical insight on the emotions of the situation, when in reality they were basically copy and pasting it from the art book. I don't know what else I was expecting, but yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only one who noticed that. It's not a bad thing, but like, it probably would have been better if you maybe, you know, kind of formed your own opinions and not spoiled the art book, but whatever. It's like the final episode of an anime. Since transformation is a key theme for this floor, there was much work to do in terms of programming and art, especially with the gesture of Nihil. Every part of it required 4 times as much effort, or even more. The key words of the direction for the BGM were descending despair, quietly boiling sadness, painful memories that flash before the eyes sometimes, and an illusion of Angelica, thus creating a contrast with Angela's track. The two characters' tracks could have gone with the same concept, both being grand yet composed, but Studio EIM has done a wonderful job expressing the ideas. I agree. She's the one character that grabs my attention the most when I make videos. From her adorable appearance to the radiant background, I think Tifrith is a pretty charming character. After making videos featuring Tifrith with her appearance in LC, working on the trailer for Library of Ruina recently got me thinking, oh, our girl Tifrith, you grew up so fast. Knowing that there's probably a friend thinking the same thing makes me laugh. Tifrith's transformation in this game is brilliant. Tifrith's all grown up. We decided early on that the magical girls would be placed on the floor of natural sciences, but the realization featuring Roland was a bit of a dilemma. In the end, Roland, the magical midlife man, came into being. In the room shown in Roland's flashback, there are many things he salvaged from the collapsed home, like the kids, you know, the kids stuff. I think that was like a crib and a mobile or something, if I'm remembering correctly. It was quite tragic. Really brought that scene home as well. Ah, the magical girls, they were fucking tough. They were really tough. I struggled with these guys for sure. Especially King of Greed. Goddamn, though she is my favorite. And then there's Scary King of Greed. Servant of Wrath, Friend of Aggression, I remember you. Cool, that's a cool design, I like it. The Servant of Wrath. You're not the Friend of Aggression, you're the friend of Aggression who's not actually a friend. And then here, oh yeah, here it is, here's the image. Yeah, there's the toy and the little mobile. Yeah, no. Yeah, there's a crib. You can see a crib right there. Oh. That was a really powerful scene, I have to say, especially since it's the first time Roland has a realization and you're sat there like, hold on, this is about Roland? Because these have all been about Angela up to this point, and then suddenly it's actually about Roland, and it's a huge hype moment. I really liked Roland's Queen of Hatred design, because it's very Catherine. It's extremely Catherine, if you've played Catherine by Atlas. That looks a lot like Vincent. That is a very Vincent-like design, especially in one of the endings. Friend of Aggression, that's a cool one. As much as I like the King of Greed, I'm not entirely keen on Roland's King of Greed design, thinking back on it. It's not bad, it's just not to my personal taste. I like the King of Greed, I don't like Roland King of Greed. Which I think I said something completely the opposite in that stream, that quiz stream I did with Zet, Ali, Dino Dave, and G-Chan. But looking back at it now, it's like, it's an interesting idea, and it's definitely not a bad one. But nah, it's kind of a miss, I think, a little bit. I definitely really like this design. This design is fucking brilliant. This version, actually, specifically, this encapsulates what the King of Greed was. And it's very cool. But to be honest, in terms of, like, Roland's best design in this fight, right, in this realization, no question in my mind, it's Night of Despair. It's absolutely Night of Despair. It is 100% Night of Despair. He looks so fucking cool. That is such a good design. That is fantastic. That is the final boss of a different game. So good. Gesture of Nihil was pretty good, but like at this point, the visual design for the Gesture of Nihil wasn't really resembling Roland as such. It's representing Roland's feelings and his emotions, sure, but visually it's not representing him anymore because it is about him, but it's kind of not about him. Well, it's like the dual narrative of the final scrap, isn't it? It's a fight between the magical girls and the Jester of Nihil, who is like the villain of their story, but it's also about the magical girls trying to save Roland from making the same mistakes they did. Patron librarian Gebra. VA Chun Yong Jung. Age unknown, gender female, height 5'11", so close to mine. Birthday April 24th, personality traits straightforward, dependable, somewhat hot-blooded. Not as much now as she was before. Hobbies, meditating with her eyes closed. Specialties, resolute spirit, likes cigarettes that won't reek of menthol, dislikes her silence being disturbed. Menthol cigarettes are awful. I hate them. Me, well, I can't think of much to add, so I'll just peek at what others had to say and pass it over to the next guy. That sounds about right. I really didn't use Geb's normal or base appearance very much, but I have to say, it's pretty fucking cool. That sword she has is awesome. That's huge. That's a big old sword, obviously because she's used to wielding mimicry. Our biggest concern was introducing Gebra in her weakened state. We decided to give her a locked passive ability which would give an impression that her true strength was sealed away. Also, Astolfo, a character appearing in Roland's flashbacks, is working in the north, which is why he wears fancy attire in comparison to most guests featured in this game, who are from the south. What does that have to do with this? But okay. I scratched my head a lot over the combat dialogue for Gebra and Bina. I even considered omitting them outright for cleanness. I shouldn't make them sound too weak, but at the same time, making them all cocky and overconfident wasn't a good idea either. In Gebra's case, we eventually settled with the imagery of a mentor that cares for her assistants. Appropriate, I think. Shows good growth. The battle between the mercenary and the wolf was one of the first things I'd been eagerly wanting to make since the inception of abnormality battles. The basic idea was to help the mercenary hunt the wolf as a raid boss, but my faulty direction led to difficulty issues. My deepest apologies and thanks to the players who bore with the mercenary catching her breath. That fight was rough. Very cool idea, but god is it painful. Really painful. Really painful. So painful, actually. God damn. It's a very cool room, it's a very cool arena. I was never particularly keen on assistant attires on any floor, really, and this one is much the same way, because that just looks like a tracksuit. Maybe that's what they were going for, maybe it wasn't, but it looks like a tracksuit, and it's not a good look. Not for a library. Oh, yes. Little Red Riding Hooded mercenary, very cool. Very cool concepts that were just painfully implemented. The wolf... Same as above, the arena was fantastic, especially having it go from blue to red. Very cool. Big and might will be bad wolf. Big bad and will be wolf. Oh, I love this thing. Look how cute he is. Look, he's adorable. Look, he's so cute. And then he's not. I do like the wolf. I do like him very much. That arena is fucking cool. You know what's funny though? Even if one were to have power, that power would only strike down, not up. Carly's neighbors, who she had been protecting from violence, were no different from the others, in that they would resort to violence themselves once they had power. This savage cycle wouldn't stop, no matter who she tried to protect. Mountain of Smiling Bodies, one of the few third trumpet events in this game. Very cool. Difficult if you don't know how to deal with it, but very cool. In the city, beings we call blood fiends have existed for quite a while. Not much is known about when or where they came from. Entities that endlessly crave human blood. They're a mystery to the general public. She has a typo. You know that's on purpose. The only thing most people know is that they're in hiding these days. That's funny. Yeah, blood fiends. Nosferatu's an interesting one, apparently like the original blood fiend or something. Very cool boss. Very difficult. I mean, most people didn't struggle with them, but I did. Very cool. And then we go on to Roland's realization here. I do like that minor detail, how they've incorporated his suit into the design of the Red Riding Hood fight. The wolf one's pretty cool. I like it. Nosferatu is classy as hell. You can tell just by looking at it. And Smile is a cool one because it is literally just his normal appearance, basically draped in the Mountain of Smiling Bodies' shit, as it were. Oh, of course, in Mimicry. God, I forgot about Mimicry. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that's a very cool one. That was a very cool moment. I think Mimicry is probably my favorite on this floor because I find some of these, and this might sound a bit harsh, but it is kind of the way of it. I find some of these to be a little uninspired. This is a cool idea, but there's not a lot to it, really. Similar with this, where it's a very cool idea, but it's cool because it's Nosferatu. It's basically just Nosferatu. It's not... Yes, they've incorporated the suit into it, which I like, but... This is basically just Nosferatu wearing a suit instead of his normal attire. This is just furry werewolf man, and this is almost identical to Red Riding Hood. Mimicry, I think, is the most interesting one. And even then, I would go ahead and say it's not that inspired. He's still just wearing his suit underneath a cloak made of mimicry, basically. But the scythe kind of wins it on this one. That scythe is very cool. These aren't bad designs by any stretch, but they certainly didn't hit me quite as strongly as, Oh, right, that's why they mentioned Astolfo, because he's in this cutscene. Okay, fair enough. But these definitely didn't hit me quite as strongly as, say, the Magical Girl designs or a lot of Angela's designs. Not bad, definitely not bad, just not quite as, like, you don't see it and go, man, that's really cool. Maybe on first impression, sure. I imagine on first impression I saw a lot of these and went, whoa! But, like, looking back at them again, now that they're stationary and we don't have the music behind it and the fanfare of the battle, a little uninspired. Not bad, though. I really want to exaggerate that fact. Not bad. Just a little uninspired. Could have done a lot more with it, I guess, is where I'm going with that. Patron librarian, he said, VA Park Johan. Age unknown, gender male, height 6 foot, closest height to me so far. Birthday March 31st. Personality traits amicable, intelligent, loquacious. Hobbies playing the cello, listening to music. Specialities gentle demeanor, persuasiveness. Likes coffee with a rich aroma and a clean aftertaste. Dislikes the dark. Interesting, I never got that impression. Guess it's my turn already. Everyone's had more input than I thought, huh? Suppose I should join in then. Sup, boy? His head got a serious glow up in Ruina. This is such a glow up. This is such a good design. He looks fucking brilliant in this game. That hair, honestly, that hairstyle is a 10 out of 10. Perfectly done. It's not too elaborate. It's not even too anime character. The only thing that makes it anime-esque is that it's blue, and that's because he is blue. His whole fucking outfit's blue, so it makes sense. Absolute banger of a design. Love this. Brilliant. 10 out of 10. Then again, I should mention to all of you that a lot of the time I do actually prefer understated designs. So if I fawn over a design and you're like, why? It's very bland. It might be the simplicity that I enjoy. So keep that in mind. I know some of you artists aren't the same way. While I like coffee, I didn't have any expertise in the art, so I'd often go down to Ham Ham Pang Pang, a lot of plugging in this one, which was starting preparations for their opening to watch demonstrations and ask the staff questions. I don't drink coffee, but you made me try it. There's a single instance of Hesed not holding his mug in the illustrations on the Tumblebug page, and I remember getting a good laugh out of people's reactions to it. He never lets go of his cup, even in an emergency. Hesed's coffee serves as a good excuse to get the patron librarians together when writing short stories. I owe much thanks to it. It's like a magical bridge that connects them. It kind of was, yeah. And that feels like Hesed's role, really. Even though Tifrith often acted as a bridge between Geb and Hesed to get them to talk. Seeing this thing here occurs to me. This, his normal design, that hand should have a mug of coffee. He should have a mug of coffee in his hand, and when he gets hit, a little should spill out. And in fact, if someone hasn't done a mod for that, then I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing. Honestly. That feels very obvious. It was a pleasure to direct content with abnormalities designed by Mimi, an artist I'm a huge fan of. I also had fun planning out the Wizard of Oz themed battle where you challenge the wizard's trials. As a side note, this is my favorite floor that has everything I like. Hesed, sunken ships, cooperation, and a BGM with the violin. Hoi hoi hoi. His hair went through several design iterations, almost as many as his swords. The staff had a good laugh seeing Hesed absolutely refused to let go of his cup in the flashbacks. The realization for the floor of social sciences was updated on January 1st, 2021, recent. We apologize for the inconvenience caused by the difficulty and glitches when it was released. I imagine there were probably quite a few. Yeah, that's a damn good room. That's a really nice room, and that's a really nice arena. That attire is... I get it, but that attire is awful. Not badly designed, I just don't like it. Straight up. Scarecrow searching for wisdom, you caused me some troubles, and I didn't expect you to. Warm-hired woodsman, what a guy. Sociology is a lot like blending when you look at it. When you blend coffee, you pick out the beans you want and filter away the unwanted ones. Those trees were fucking spooky. The road home and scaredy cat. What a bastard this is. Ozma, very fucking cool. The Flora Social Sciences final episode, and I'm saying this just in case. No matter what happens, don't blame yourself for all of it. You know it won't be your fault. Don't say stuff like that. You're so obviously gonna drive yourself to the extreme if I don't say it here. Now promise. You know I don't make promises. Alright, fine, I promise. It looks like she's been abandoned in a remote place after she was betrayed by the one she trusted most. That reminds me the pumpkins had this faint scent of cinnamon. I wonder if that has something to do with her tale. No idea, I don't know a lot about it. I'm sure someone will deliver me a 9-page essay on why that is significant. This is cool. This is cool, but uninspired once again, I would perhaps say, because it is literally just Roland as a scarecrow. This is very good, and it is uninspired. It is. Actually, no, it's not uninspired. I thought for a minute it was literally her outfit, but it's not. No, this design is actually fantastic. This was built from the ground up and looks great. I really like that one. This is decent, but it is literally just Roland's head in a warm-hired woodsman. So, once again, you're going to hear this word a lot. A little uninspired. This is fine. Although I know a lot of people like this one, and I think it's fun, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's cool. And this was a neat idea. The use of crystals is very nice. The best one on this floor is the road home. Don't give a fuck. Don't even at me about it. Best one. That is so good. It's interesting to see Roland with almost like a sense of youthfulness about him, which is sorely lacking from him in the current time. Or at least at the time the game takes place. Patron librarian Bina. Age unknown. Gender female. VA Kim Bona. Terribly sorry. Height 5'9". Birthday October 7th. Personality traits noble, unbiased, secretive. Hobbies having a cup of tea before respite. Specialities, self-discipline, likes Ceylon, Yunnan discourse, dislikes pungent teas. I notice there's a distinct lack of reference to her psychotic tendencies in her previous life, which I suppose means that she has completely lost them now. I'm greatly curious to see from what perspectives you have observed the city. Good old Bina. Bina was the one patron that required the most care in terms of programming. Since she wasn't quite like the others, there were a number of bugs when we implemented her, and I would blame Bina every time I encountered a bug when she wasn't at fault. Yes, the blame truly falls upon me. The first drafts for the runaway birds that appear with Judgment Bird looked a lot cuter and more casual at first. The job felt a bit tough since I wasn't familiar with creature designs. I got help from someone else in the end. I don't know if the draft will make it into the art book, but I hope to show it one day. That'd be cool to see. It was unfortunate that there weren't any chapters in the main story where we could make a giant boss character. But this floor filled that longing, even if by a little. Apocalypse Bird's stomp and the battery of lasers from its wings are two effects that still leave me awestruck. Yeah, that was a whole thing. Since Bina's brain was already scrambled in the past, she cannot give you any information about the head or even the city, even if she were to become a book. Oh yeah, so you literally just can't get the info out of her. I love the background art for Bina's dialogue scenes. The atmosphere is bleak and dim and somewhat dreamlike as well. I think it's a good match with the music in particular. The stream of water in the middle is shallow enough that you could walk through it with no problem, and lying in it won't fully submerge you. The stage background was directed to make it seem as if the cityscape were being reflected in the night sky. We intended to create a visual representation of the conversation Bina and Elena had. Ah. It's interesting. And funny because Bina absolutely styles all over her in that conversation. It's hilarious. And Bina doesn't even try either. Yeah. Is that the restored version? Yeah. That's cool. Big Bird, you bastard. I remember struggling with you, and I fought you wrong and still won, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You don't have to be 100% perfect and efficient at this game to beat it. The amount of times I've gotten comments saying like, oh my god, he did everything wrong, and I'm like, yeah, but I won though, didn't I? I hope it makes you angry. Though I'm not sure when it was, I once saw an employee gently pet Big Bird to sleep. I think it was the first time anyone's seen it rest so peacefully. That's nice. Whenever you heard the thump of a bird's pecs, you knew this little Bo Cheap was to blame. I always wondered how its mouth could stretch so wide. Yeah, that thing is terrifying. And a bastard in general. Scales that only tilts to one side. While I admire the resolve to disallow personal feelings from swaying one's judgment, Hearing the clear sound of a bell did creep me out at times, yeah, I bet. This thing was a bastard for sure. Yes, and this was this cutscene. Then in the middle of all the chaotic cries, someone shouted, "It's the beast! A big scary monster lives in the black dusky forest!" Yeah, I remember the forest. God damn. God damn, these were some of the coolest designs, because they were a fucking mess. They were an absolute fucking mess. Big bird's far-seeing eyes were blinded, small bird's mouth that could devour anything was shut, and the head that always gazed upon the cosmos was lowered. The bird began to prowl the forest, but there was nothing. There were no creatures, no sun and moon, and no beast. All that was left was just a bird and the black forest. So, best design amongst these, this one. Come on, it's this one. It's fucking this one. Like, that's amazing. I love that. I absolutely adore that. That looks so good. And so does this. They all look brilliant. Being as flawed, funny enough, because they all look very similar, you would think, like, you could honestly accuse it of being a little uninspired because they're all very similar to each other, but no, these versions of these designs, these ideas are so fucking good. They are brilliant, incorporating all of the birds in each one, but still focusing on a specific one at each occasion. With Pun Bird here, Big Eyes here, and then Judgment Bird here. And then the true amalgamation of them all, which is fucking horrifying, but Justicia is a clear winner. That is so good. Goddamn. Patron Librarian Hokma, VA Lee Min Q. Age unknown, gender male, height 6 foot. Birthday March 15th, very close to my birthday. Personality traits: devout, refined, somewhat pessimistic, yeah. Hobbies: the acquisition of knowledge via reading the written word. Why don't you just say reading? Specialities: comprehension, likes brisk atmospheres and lemon tea, dislikes his private time being disturbed. I have no obligation to treat you ilk with any courtesy or greeting. Any faith I would have has long since been crushed. A singular book which contains all the knowledge that you have accumulated so far. I reckon this record holds much significance in many ways. Good old Hokma. I love Hokma. He is one of the characters in this game, or one of the patron librarians, whose original outfit, one of the few characters in the game who doesn't have their own key page, whose original outfit is an absolute winner. This rules. This is great. This is everything about. This is Hokma. This encapsulates him perfectly. Of course he has a rapier. Of course he does. He's that kind of guy. Perfect. Perfect. I spent days and nights wondering how to handle the somberness of White Knight when we were planning out the realization. There were so many events and effects, writing down all the direction notes was a pain in its own. The two main concepts behind this flawless BGM are Requiem and Hymn. The track gives off the feeling of a hallowed lament, melancholic in a way that's different from his seds. Designing realization outfits out of existing abnormalities was challenging but fun. I wanted to depict a stronger synchronization with the abnormalities. I was worried about how the designs might be judged, but I was relieved when they were accepted. The lamps hanging on the stairs in the background art are pocket watches. A scene in a favorite movie of mine had countless pocket watches dangling in the air, which left a deep impression on me. Keeping records is important for religion, right? So I got this idea that Hokma inscribes special writings or numbers on the watches and hangs them himself. Only one of the watches is working at a time. Perhaps if a new event occurs, that watch would stop and another watch would be hung. That's an awesome concept. That's brilliant. We took him in a new direction where he holds a lot of bitterness as opposed to his gentle impression in LC. When I was assigning librarian classifications to the Sephiroth, looking at the category of religion instantly made me think of White Knight, and it became clear as day that the floor of religion would be its place. However, I wasn't sure if we could reflect White Knight's characteristics in this game. In LC, White Knight was iconic for its ability to turn a huge facility into complete pandemonium after its advent. Fortunately, director Lee Yumi organized the White Knight experience into something that could satisfy many fans. I think the White Knight experience in this game was brilliant. I think this realization was incredibly well done, because they could have made it so bad, and it wouldn't have even necessarily been their fault, as it were. More of a crushed under the weight of their own ambitions and trying something too clever and having it fail than just being straight up bad design. But I think they achieved it. I think the White Knight one was fantastic. It wasn't too difficult. In fact, you could almost say it was a bit easy. But that's better than the alternative, which would be to make it basically fucking impossible. I really liked it, personally. Yeah, they didn't get along at all. I love the pocket watches. I love the clocks. It's a great theme. At the end of the day, Everything I've ever said for and against Project Moon as a dev can be forgiven for the fact that they did not include Price of Silence in the realization fight. For that alone, I'm willing to forgive most of their sins, but the fact the Price of Silence exists still upsets me. Goddamn Blue Star. I'm glad that wasn't in the realization either. That would have been a nightmare. Final episode. Not a lot of designs to choose from here, to be honest. For obvious reasons. Oh, these concepts for if these had been realizations. These are some cool concepts. These are really cool. Okay, I can include these in the general assessment then. This is very good. This is insanely good. This is exceptionally good. This is fine. I like it. It definitely serves its purpose, but it doesn't call out to me too much. This is amazing. This is alright. I like it. It's very cool. It's a bit anime endgame, but pretty cool. This is exceptional. Blue Star is exceptionally good. Price of Silence is also exceptionally good. This is incredible. This is fucking sick. I love this. So it's between these three, really. And I guess maybe White Knight as well. Yeah, probably White Knight as well, because her White Knight is really good. I'm gonna give it to Blue Star, because that just looks fucking incredible. With the hearts as well. That is so good. Roland! Our guy! The guy who caused all the problems. The floor of general works, Roland, VA, Sun Su-ho, or Sun Su-ho, however it's pronounced. A fantastic VA, if I might take a moment to say that. Like, everyone's been very good, but Roland's knocked out of the fucking park. This kind of stuff can happen to anyone in the city. Yeah, for real. Age, 33 years. He actually has a fixed age. Gender, male. Height, 5'10". Birthday, May 15th. Personality traits, cooperative, amusing, impulsive. Yeah, that's about right. Grade 9 fixer, sure. Hobbies, cooking? Roland cooks? Specialities, conversation, amiable attitude. Likes, Pajon, Gubap, ham pang pangs, toasted sandwiches. Dislikes, mildly seasoned food. Guess Angela and I are the last ones to proofread the book. Feels kinda embarrassing to let my secrets out. I mean, you've already embarrassed yourself enough, buddy. Roland's chibi sprites were designed with the idea that he's hiding his true skills and is putting on an act, making himself seem sickly and weak. The art director did a good job portraying Roland's smug and easy demeanor. As for the Snow Queen's battle, we adopted the gimmick from LC pretty directly. I like how it turned out, as it seems more immersive than just watching it unfold in a containment unit. I liked the idea of it, I fucking hated the execution. I like the idea of a duel with the Snow Queen, I just hate so much how it was done. It was fucking awful. When designing Roland for the very first time, he was modeled after the actor James McAvoy. Yeah, a lot of people said that. I wanted to create a handsome character who is crafty and whimsical, but also doesn't look awkward when he gets serious. I was glad that many liked the newly introduced protagonist. Another candidate for Roland's inspiration was the actor Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah, I can definitely see these. Very clearly. Roland is impressive because LC did have a protagonist, but it was kind of just the player, you know? Like, yes, you were playing as A, and yes, A is his own entity, but really, you were A. You were playing as A, you were A, and you basically controlled what A's reaction to certain circumstances were in the limited amount of occasions you actually had that kind of impetus. And you didn't really affect anything anyway. But switching that to having two set main characters who have their own motivations and personalities completely beyond the player's control, albeit not including the endings, was a risky move, and they pulled it off brilliantly, because everyone loves Roland. I've never met a Project Moon fan who doesn't like Roland. Even acknowledging his many, many faults as a person, like the many horrible things he's done, the many ways he's fucked up, the many fucked up things he did, no one dislikes Roland. Because Roland is brilliant. He's brilliantly written, he's brilliantly voice acted, he's brilliantly presented, he's sympathetic, he's scary in his own way, he's intimidating and menacing, but competent and funny. He's perfect. This is what, like, so many animes in this kind of game and stuff, this kind of storytelling, have fucking Mary Sue characters, and like, I just want to shove Roland in their face and be like, no, make him instead, but I'm glad they don't, because then Roland would be boring. But this is what your anime protagonist should be. Straight up, he's almost perfect. I can't think of a fault. The only reason I'm saying almost perfect is because I don't want to make too grand a statement, but I can't think of any flaws with this character. He's fucking brilliant. Absolutely exceptional. His design is everything I would want as well. It's simple. It's simple and effective. Everyone else has weird colors and stuff going on. He's just black suit, black hair. Easy. Perfect. Classy. Simple, sophisticated. It's perfect. Because the black suit could be worn by someone who is extremely rich and fancy and upper class, and it can also be worn by your everyday salaryman. This doesn't... It's never out of place. It's never out of place, but it is distinctive. He still stands out. Perfect, 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 fucking perfect. I can't stress it enough. Perfect. I love Roland's chibi sprite. It's probably my favorite. How can I put it? He's got an aura of a master who makes you let your guard down. He looks relaxed at times, but when he takes a hit, he sells it well. I also like the contrast between his usual posture and the statue when he's wearing the Black Silence's gloves. Yeah, I talked about this a lot when it happened, because he goes from his hands in pockets stance, as it were, which is very relaxed, of course, and almost a bit cocky, to no longer having his hands in his pockets and standing up straight, and it comes with an air of gained confidence and self-assuredness and strength. He stands up straight, he holds himself more firmly, and he immediately comes across as more competent, and then you get to see how much more competent he actually is. It was quite hot last summer, but Mr. Sun So-ho, the voice of Roland, recorded his lines with the air conditioner off to make sure that no noise snuck into the audio. The weather must have been stifling for him, since he was carrying a portable fan around his neck, but he kept a bright spirit throughout the recording. It was a pleasure to work with him. He's an absolute fucking legend, is who that guy is. Wouldn't surprise me if he wore a black suit the whole time as well. Oh boy, Roland. What a guy. What a fucking guy. Ah, Bloodbath. The moment when you realize that this game is actually really fucking cool. Like, it already seemed cool, but this confirmed it. And Bloodbath isn't even that cool. It's just knowing that you're going to be fighting abnormalities and having First Warning playing just... It's just the moment you realize what you're in for, or at least had some idea. Art of Aspiration. These are pretty basic designs, but not bad. Pinocchio. He was a fucker. Snow Queen can fuck right off. Brilliant design, but oh my god. We gotta get to Angela before we move on to the other shit. I see, I've got over 100 pages left here. Well, I don't know what else there is. Head Librarian Angela, VA Lee Daeun. Age unknown, gender female, height 5'7", birthday February 27th, interesting. Personality traits, thirsty for knowledge, independent, unstable. Hobbies, reading in the space between large bookcases. Specialities, administration, likes places with a moderate amount of noise, dislikes plans going awry. Yeah. Let me introduce myself properly. My name is Angela, I am the head librarian and director of this library. It's rather fun to read the comments you have left. Thank you, everyone. Good old Angela. Angela's crow outfit didn't quite suit the ambiance of a library, so I asked for several sketches in order to give her an outfit that suits the librarian theme, while still maintaining some design elements of the crow suit. Multiple hair and clothing drafts came up, and it took a while for us to decide on the final design. Even though all the characters are precious to me, I can't help but cherish Angela the most. She is the protagonist, after all. I wanted to show her undergoing growth, little by little. However, our attitude remains the same for most of the main story, because we figured that players would take on the realizations at different points, and so we left it up for the ending branches, which makes a lot of sense. And it's actually quite good that they did it that way, because it leaves you with a lot of, like, uncertainty when you're like, yeah, we've gone through all these realizations of Angela, and she's had these big moments, but is it enough? Is it enough to sway her? It's hard to say. The themes of the library UI were the neon lights of a cyberpunk world, the luxury of a library, and the stroke of ink. It was a textbook example of elaborate but simple, the kind of requests that torments designers. Still, it was considered pretty if nothing else, so I guess that counts as half the success. I was very sorry about the UX for the early versions. I had to work under tight time constraints, and the constant changes with the game's systems made it difficult for me to clean things up. I sighed with relief when the total overhaul we pushed out in late November was received well enough. I wish to keep a promise I made with Miss Lee Dion. A convention we had planned was cancelled due to the pandemic, which was a huge shame since she was looking forward to it as well. It was a period when COVID-19 caused a lot of uncertainty with holding events, though things aren't much better right now. I vowed to plan a good event and contact us someday. Please wait warmly. The sound effect for her snap was created from sound clips of multiple claps and finger snaps. The final version was created after going through multiple attempts to make a catchy sound, and I was happy to see that people liked it. Click. That click is an A+, S tier fucking sound effect. I use it in every video now because I love it so much. 100% brilliant. I wish Angela still had long hair. This is purely a personal preference thing, right? I don't think her design is worse for having short hair, I just preferred her with long hair. I even preferred this, to be honest, but her design is not bad at all. I like it a lot, actually. I like Angela a lot. I go out to the streets, I have my hands in my pockets. Yeah. Oh, wait, we're on to... Oh. I guess I can understand why they didn't put the realization stuff so far up here. A, because it probably would have come much later anyway. And B, because it really is fucking endgame spoilers. So, yeah, that's a thing. It might even be in Volume 2 for all I know. Alright, well, considering we had the alternate endings on top of this as well, ladies and gentlemen, and we're at an hour and a half now, which is longer than most book clubs, I am going to call it here, and we're going to finish this next time. And next time, I will sit down and actually commit to getting this done, because I would quite like to wrap this up. This has been interesting so far, though. I've loved learning more about the page of librarians, and next time we'll be learning a lot more about the guests. We should be able to get through it much fucking quicker, probably. I don't know, maybe, we'll see. But it's been fun. It's been fun looking at the designs, it's been fun learning more, it's been fun conjecturing about the characters, and now you guys can't just quote the fucking art book when talking about characters, and you actually have to come up with something new. So I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are, not the art book's thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't actually care that much. About the fact that you quote the art book. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Special thanks to Teacup of Doom, Beep, Adar Sanjeev, Alkier, Honeydew Corporation, Sweet Baby Red, MB Alias, Lord Scullington, Jessicitty, Plutonium Pie, Dreamer Ghost, Leper Lullaby, K-Bub, Magic Owl, The Frostbite, Monsoon, Swirled, Jumping with Joy, Warmaster Oku, SCP-106A, Namad, Kenny T100 for supporting me on Patreon. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you all so much for watching. So, what do you think of the endings? They were fucked. They were straight up fucked. They were terrifying, but good. They were well made. They felt like endings rather than you fucked up, try again. Although Rollins does kind of feel like a you fucked up, try again ending, but it was enough of an actual ending that it could conceivably be the ending of the game. You know, that could have been a thing. Also, favorite Sephiroths and why you like them so much. Favorite designs for, realizations, abnormalities, and the Sephiroth in general. Everything we've discussed today, I would like to hear your thoughts on them, very much so. Next time, it will be the guests, and boy, that's going to take a while, so I'll need to get a fresh cup of tea for that one, because my throat will die, I'm sure. But when I do that, and when we do finally wrap up the Library of Ruina book club, I hope I see you there. Toodles, goodbye.